When you communicate properly, hours of problems can be resolved. For a purpose, as a manager, as a team member, or even at home, you need to keep elevating yourself. Even if you are meeting someone during a family get together or a gathering, you don't have to say, you know what I'm doing? I'm working in this particular place, and my sons and daughters are concerned that they get ghosted, they don't know who this person is, and lot of problems can creep in, okay, beyond your imagination. But some of them write everything in the subject line. You need to use the body of the email when you compose an email, and there you have to write the Hello, welcome to another video on my channel. Thank you for being with me. And today I thought of doing a very short topic. It's going to be on communication. I've already done another video on communication, but today I would like to include those points that are very vital. First video is here, the thumbnail is provided, and I'd really appreciate if you could go through the other videos on the channel to help you comprehend the content and the different aspects of language and your thinking and behavior. Let's get started. What I'm trying to tell you is just a few seconds of proper communication can rectify and avoid also hours of confusion. Even when you look at a team, for example, if one person communicates in the wrong way, miscommunicates, or forgets to add something very specific, then the whole team gets affected. This can happen between two people, two friends. So I'm going to give you some instances and also general thoughts on this particular topic. Now, many people feel that communication means you need to know the language. Language barrier is different. Communication skill is different. You should be able to express, so even if you're not using a language, as you all know, we have got non-verbal communication and verbal communication. So even if you don't open your mouth, even if you don't speak, even if the sound doesn't come out, we can communicate through gestures. And if it's proper, people will be able to understand. It becomes better and easier when you use language. There are different ways. Animals communicate in a way. They have a language of their own. They don't speak like us, right? The differently abled people communicate in a beautiful way. So let's take the first point. Ending a conversation abruptly is not a good behavior. It's not a good manner. Some people are very happy in doing that. See, sometimes you have an emergency when you have a situation where you cannot convey the thought or the need of ending a conversation abruptly. Okay, that is understandable, but I think it will not take many seconds for you to say, I'll be right back. Okay, I'll get back to you. I'm on a call. And there are different ways in which you can communicate about that. You don't have to even give the details. I'll call you back. I'll get back. So if you're having a conversation with the person, then also you can say, I'll get back 1 second, and you can just move away from that place. Okay, even if it's a physical presence, you can move away from that place and then get back. It's okay. I think that's manners. More than manners, it's a very good way of communicating. Okay, with your body language and all that. So it's very important to communicate about your urgency, about your need to stop the conversation abruptly or to be away for some time because of something else that's of more priority. Usually it will be an emergency. And then you get back. Suppose you're not able to get back at that particular moment. Suppose you get busy or you get carried away. I think it's very easy, or it will not take much time to convey or to drop a message or to just convey saying that I had to go on an emergency. I'm sorry. I think we'll talk later. If you're not able to do it on that particular day, you can do it the next day or after 2 days. If you don't get to hear from the person after 3 or 4 days or even 1 month, I think you have to just leave that person. Why I'm taking up this topic is because there are a lot of people coming to me during language classes and counseling classes specifically saying that they get ghosted. So I don't think you have to waste your time on thinking about the abruptly ended conversation when they don't have manners or when they really don't want to communicate. The next point is you need to update about what's happening. So here also abrupt ending, otherwise also when you have a friend or if you're communicating for a purpose, as a manager, as a team member, or even at home, you need to update. Okay, I'll come at 5 o'clock, or I think I'll be late by 10 minutes. And also at the same time, convey what is happening, because life is not predictable, it is unpredictable. Anything can happen to anyone. Okay, and you cannot give the excuse later saying that, oh, I couldn't do it. See, it will not take many seconds to communicate or to convey the need, saying that I'm not able to catch you up, or I will not be able to meet you, or can we meet day after tomorrow, or change the meeting. Because today we have got emails, we can ping, we can send messages, or you can make a voice call. Now, if nothing is possible, just take a few seconds to drop a message through the different apps and whatever you have. It doesn't take many seconds. You don't have to keep talking and, utilizing most of your time to give the details, because sometimes we may not have to even give the details, but it's important to update and convey. That is something which helps in relationship growing. See, you must have heard of people speaking about distant relationships, and they say, I have a friend, or we are friends, we have been friends for 15 or maybe 35 years, 40 years, but we don't get to call every other day, we don't call every week, but whenever we meet or whenever we speak, we are able to connect with the same bond. Okay, that's a kind of good reciprocation. There is a purpose, there is a meaning in that kind of relationship. Okay, the next one, when you introduce yourself, make sure that you convey only the right amount of information. Give the details. You cannot be too short. Don't keep it very short. According to the need, according to the person sitting in front of you, as per the requirements, you have to modulate and give the details. If it's an interview, you have to speak about many things. I've already done a video on that. Otherwise, don't keep elevating yourself. Even if you are meeting someone during a family get-together or a gathering, you don't have to say, you know what I'm doing? I'm working in this particular place and my sons and daughters. Or you can even hear people saying that I have finished a project last month and this is what the manager told me. See, nobody's interested in such things until and unless they inquire about it. Sometimes you will have people from the same field inquiring about the updates and the established career that you have been working on for so long. Suppose it is something of common interest, music, or the project that you're doing, or if it's something else, if they inquire about it, I think it's very important to give details. And if that's authentic, that'll really help many people. Make yourself heard, but not in such a way that it becomes monotonous and boring. Right? Because the world is really vast. You have a lot of opportunities and options. People with different ideas and different skills and different ways of enlightening each other. So every second you get to see people working on different things. Okay, and gone are the days where people just look at you because of your grades and academic qualification and things like that. When it comes to language, seldom, or we should not even give importance to the skill of a person as per the grades, as per the achievements, the academic achievements. Of course, that's an asset, but that will not define you. The next point is, it's important to recall, recap, or even sometimes you need to remind the person about the previous conversation. If it's an email, if it's just a conversation also, it's not mandatory and necessary for everyone to remember everything. I'm not speaking about the details. Suppose the person is not able to recollect, is not able to identify. You can always say, we met last time in this during that particular party or during the meeting. Do you remember? So recapping, recalling, recollecting, helping the person to identify the other person. At the same time, suppose they identify you, suppose you have been thick friends for some time, it's important to update and to remind on the content. If you're working on a project, if you're working on even a very casual conversation, didn't I tell you last time? Oh, I think you forgot. Some people pretend, that's different. But I'm speaking about, you can really make out things from the expressions of a person. You know something, you can also make out a lot of things through text messages. You don't get to see the person, but still, when there is a thread of conversation, it is very important to understand what the person is up to. Okay, I'll do another video on social media because many people have been speaking about this and they have been expressing their concerns. The next one is keep yourself away from crowded places. That is, in the sense, if it's necessary, you can communicate when you have a crowd, or when you need to see. Addressing the public or addressing an audience is different. But when you're in the crowded places, if you need to interfere, if you have to speak about something, make sure that you think twice, because there are different people with different ideas from different perceptions listening to you. Make yourself heard, but think before doing it. If it's required, do it. If there is a meaning, do it. Don't stop yourself. Otherwise, I think you need to be silent. When I say public and crowded places, I also refer to the social media. When you're commenting, I think you need to know the purpose of commenting, because that is very important. If you get to see people arguing on something, on a particular content, I get to see this on Facebook very often. Just for the fun of it, people like to interfere, and they say it's just time pass and entertainment. Okay, so I don't think it's a very good way of communicating and interfering. Whenever it comes to interference also, people don't listen to the complete context. Even children do that. They're in a hurry to make you listen. That's how they are. But when it comes to adults also, I feel when you don't know anything, when you have a superficial understanding of lot of things, I think you don't have to interfere, or take the trouble of listening to the complete content or understanding it and then passing your remark or comment or whatever feedback, suggestion. But otherwise, I don't think you have to be in the public space. That's about commenting and sharing, but that's a different zone of communication. Okay, people can do whatever they want, but at the same time, as I always tell you, language should not be used for abusing and hurting people. The next one is social media, the direct messages, the chat messages, and such kind of things. I don't think you have to communicate with people when it is not required, because people are, let me tell this to people who were sending me emails, people are available on social media, or they create an account on social media such as Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook and all the other apps. They create accounts, they have a profile for different reasons. Some for entertainment, some for just having a conversation, some for keeping in touch with their friends, some for only flirting, some for just stalking. Okay, stalking, not talking, but stalking. Some just to have a random conversation where, some people are so frustrated in life that they love irritating others. They just end abruptly. So you need to know with whom you're speaking. It's very, very important. Otherwise, don't continue the thread of conversation. That's what I'm trying to say. This is something that's known, but if a teenager, if a college student, and even if an adult is listening to me, I think you need to pay attention, because many people were expressing their concern that they get ghosted, they don't know who this person is, and lot of problems can creep in, okay, beyond your imagination. I think that's very important. And the last point is, there will be a lot of people hiding, and many people love commenting from a fake account, from a fake ID, because then their identity is not revealed. Sometimes they don't upload their profile picture, and some people go to the extent of uploading their profile picture but speaking nonsense, literally nonsense. So that's up to the individuality and the character. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I talked about this in the previous video also, filtering is important. Okay, take what you need. Either you take it or leave it, or just observe and just be silent. All these options are there. But what I'm trying to tell you is, there are people who hide, who love hiding and commenting. There are people who just stalk, who creep in, who just silently watch everything. They may not want to remark, they may not want to comment. They are silent listeners, they understand. There'll be people who will want to comment for anything and everything without even knowing the gist of the conversation. Even when you're speaking with your friend, there'll be a third friend coming in and saying, things that are irrelevant to the conversation, just wasting your time. This happens on social media. This can happen everywhere, at home also. Now you need to take things that are important and just leave the rest. So I hope this video was useful, and thank you so much for listening to me. And if you have any inquiry on my training sessions, please send a proper email. There are a lot of people who really want to inquire about the sessions, but some of them write everything in the subject line. You need to use the body of the email when you compose an email, and there you have to write the content. Please do that. Don't include everything in the subject line, because then it becomes difficult to open the whole thing. It is possible to open, but we will not be able to understand what your requirement is. So it's better that you put a subject line and then you come to the body of the email and inquire and ask or send in your suggestions. Okay, only constructive suggestions, constructive feedback will be responded to, will be taken into account, and I'm more than happy to receive a lot of suggestions and feedback. Thank you so much.